Good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to our Ipsos Switzerland webinar dedicated to sustainability and more specifically about advertising connected to sustainability. So today as a speaker, I have the pleasure to be with Vanessa Harrington, who is Client Director in the Creative Excellence team here in Switzerland, and myself, Laetitia Choiset. I'm leading the Creative Excellence team here in Switzerland. So for today, we hope that we will share with you some inspiring pieces of advertising, backed up with some evidence coming from our pre-test and a very simple framework to make sure that you can develop successful advertising when it comes to sustainability. We want this session to be sharp, to be short, so that's why we have this 30-minute format. So we will not have the time to take your question. However, feel free to type in the chat box and we will make sure to follow up later after the webinar. So without any further ado, let's start now. And yes, we will talk about advertising today and about sustainability in advertising. But let's say that it's a journey and it's a long journey, and all of you, I'm sure, are already working on that since many months or years. So we wanted to remind at some point about this journey when it comes to sustainability. First of all, it's about finding your space, finding the place where you can play, where you have the right to play as a brand or as a company. Of course, it's also about owning this space and be differentiated from competitors. And the most important thing is before starting to tell your story to consumers and repeating it, it's about doing and act. It's not only about commitment. It's very important to start doing things related to sustainability, engagement and commitment so that you have the opportunity to tell your story to consumers. And it's not only about telling, but we know it's about repeating the story. We wanted to step back a bit before talking about advertising and speaking also about the price and the offer when it comes to sustainability, because it's not always a given that you could command a premium price with sustainability products. Our colleagues in the US did an exercise because we have the chance to have many different platforms at Ipsos. So we leveraged the SimStore platform in which we put some product and we ask our dear consumer to choose some dishwash liquid soaps. What we did is two scenarios. We placed in one a product, a virtual product, let's say Sustain, without any specific claim. And in another scenario, within those products, we put the same product, but this time with a recyclable claim, which is about made with ocean plastic. And we asked people just to choose the product. And what we found was really interesting. The first thing is that people with the claim perceive value the product, and there was a more likelihood to choose the product, the sustainable product, when it was with a claim at the same price level. So they really see the value of the message. However, when you start to command a more premium price with the same product, we see there that the likelihood to buy the product is less important. And it doesn't mean that because you have a sustainable claim, which is well perceived by consumers, that you can at some point command at every time a premium price. This is only one example in one category, in one country, but we wanted to share that because it's very important at some point to have the right price positioning. The second point is about messaging. We know that in advertising, the simpler the better. At some point, when it comes to sustainability, a lot of messaging have already been exposed to our consumer and citizens. Very various topics. Some were very simple messaging, some are a bit more complicated, but it's not new. And the key point is it's really about trying to understand which messaging will be the best for people to get well understood. We did as well an exercise here. It was in the UK, leveraging our dual approach, which is about for consumer to choose upon two different messaging. And what we found was pretty interesting. It's only here again in two different categories: food and beverage on the left and home personal care on the right. What we could see, the simpler the better. At some point, the messaging that were the most impactful in those two categories, again, were pretty the simplest one, like no added sugar for food, fully compostable or widely recyclable packaging for home and personal care, and as well for food and beverage. So here it's about making sure that the messaging you will bring both in your product, but also in the messaging of your communication, should be the one that the people are familiar with, easy to understand. Again, the simpler, the better. So now let's jump in our favorite topic of today, which is about advertising. We have a proven framework, which is very simple, which allow really you to have successful communication when it comes to sustainability. It's about being true to the facts, true to the people, and true to the brand. So we love watch advertising in our team. This is a bit our passion. And at some point, what we try to do there is to select different pieces of advertising. And we would like to share them with you today, and perhaps to step back while watching those advertising and thinking from your side whether you think that those advertising are true to the facts, true to the people, and true to the brand. We will show you some advertising where we have a point of view, and some of them where we have some pre-test results to support the results. As an introduction to this framework, to support about this with some evidence, we did an exercise which is to split our pre-test database at Ipsos. So we have some sustainability advertising, which are here on the left in blue, and in green is total advertising of Ipsos pre-test. And what we found is that it does not mean that because you will have a sustainability message in your advertising, that your CEI, so the Creative Effect Index, will be better. So the CEI is really the one number score that captures the ability of a communication to impact your sales. So it's not given that speaking about sustainability will allow you to have a better performance. And why? It's because at some point it's not new to speak about sustainability. We have been exposed to many different ads, and we will show you some example. And it means that you need to work extra hard to make sure that we will have magnificent sustainable advertising. And again, by simply being true to the fact, true to the people, and true to the brand. Let's start now with by watching some pieces of advertising, and start with this one.
This is about tomorrow. For a thriving, living world.
It's up to us to act today.
We have to question everything.
How we see ourselves.
The world around us.
Everything we do.
How we act is a reflection of who we are.
Every step leaves a footprint on tomorrow.
We need to move forward with a sense of purpose.
Without empathy, collaboration,
concrete actions.
Without humanity, progress is empty.
For tomorrow is real people connecting.
Empowering each other to make real change in the world.
We are not going to take anything for granted.
Or to wait and see what's around the corner. We're going to act.
For tomorrow.
For tomorrow.
For tomorrow.
We'll do it because we owe it to the ones who come next.
Because we can make the world a better place.
Because we can work together.
Because of me.
Because of you.
Because of us.
If we look ahead with humanity.
We can act for tomorrow. Today.
Commenting this advertising and thinking a bit about the framework, like true to the people. Yes, a lot of people there, very relatable to our tomorrow. True to the facts. We need to I believe, better understand what does it mean. So yes, it's about sharing solutions. So it's about pushing citizens to find out some solution. But it's not that clear, and true to the brand, at some point the brand is coming only at the very end, and it's not that clear to understand what is the link between Hyundai and what the purpose of this communication. Let's watch now another advertising, which is the next one.
We all love our planet. At least, we should. We can all protect our planet. Every day, we can protect the resources we share by creating smarter packaging, by choosing ingredients that meet high environmental and social standards, and that enables a circular economy. we can protect the climate we depend on. By switching to low-carbon transport. By building state-of-the-art factories that use less power and greener power. By empowering manufacturers to explore sustainable technologies, we can protect the resources we share every day. By using products that save water and energy. Experts predict there'll be more than 9 billion of us sharing this planet by 2050. That means we need to protect it more than ever. So let's put the power of 9 billion minds together. Whoever you are, wherever you are. This is your planet. It's our planet. If you love it, protect it every single day.
With this advertising, when we think about true to the facts, there are a lot of facts there, a lot of things that are suggested to be done. Then perhaps it's what's like this advertising is some clarity about what Henkel is willing to do versus what the citizens wish to be done. And we speak at some point about a very far tomorrow, like 2050. So perhaps it would be better to have more simpler facts about what the company is doing. Let's watch now another advertising. The name is Parallel Lives.
With a bit more thought, we can all do our part to keep plastic out of the ocean.
So with this communication of HP, so there is a tension there. There is this bright life between the plastic bag and the fish, and we are willing to understand what will be the outcome of the story. But when it comes to be true to the fact, it's pretty clear. True to the brand, it's at some point we were not expecting HP to have this kind of communication. So at some point it's pretty far, and not that linked to the communication. So here about being true to the brand, it's likely that there would be something to be done in a stronger way to better integrate the brand. So if we move now, next slide. The key things to have in mind today is about this branded attention index. So when splitting our pre-test database again between sustainability and all ads, we do see that when it comes to sustainability ads, it's even worse when it comes to branded attention. So it means that the ability of communication, and we have just seen here a sample of different advertising, it's difficult to cut through, to have a strong memory encoding from consumers, and more importantly, to be well associated with the brand which is communicating. And why we see that, if we move next slide, is because at some point, and we had a good sample there, it's about this sea of sameness. At some point, a lot of communication have been already done about sustainability, and most of the time, the brands are differing from what they are used to do. So what is important is it's to have both a good balance between the fresh and the familiar. And at some point here, when it comes to sustainability, the brand most often deviate from what we know from them, and they are all using the same pool of windmills, farms, the globe, the planet, speaking about tomorrow, the future, etc. All of this is very I would say now common themes that are used, making even more difficult to stand out from the crowd. So we said earlier that yes, we need to work extra hard to have efficient communication when it comes to sustainability, and it all starts by really have a strong memory encoding. So it's about having a strong, I would say, acts that the brand is doing, so we can really truly speak about that with true facts, being true to the brand and true to the people. So let's watch now some other advertising.
Breaking the law, 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 breaking the law. Breaking the law, 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 breaking the law.
Okay, this one, we choose this one because it's really disruptive, kind of a misfit advertising. It's about water, so we're expecting a category such as water to have plastic bottle, and at some point it's about can. Can is really the brand DNA of this brand, Liquid Death, because their hashtag is about death to plastic. This is well integrated in the story because at some point the can, which is the product, is part of the story, but very disruptive because they are using the beer category there, obviously, and we are not expecting kids to have cans because it's associated to beer or pregnant women. What is pretty smart is the way this messaging is fully integrated with the belief that can is more sustainable than plastic water. Let's now watch another advertising. This one.
Global clothing consumption has doubled in the last 15 years.
We can change that.
When we make better, we can buy better.
And when we buy better, we can wear longer.
We wear longer, we can buy less.
When we buy less, we can waste less.
And when we waste less, we can change for good.
Buy better, wear longer. So here with this communication of Levi's, very smart way to remind to people that the premium quality of Levi's is at some point a smart choice to be done, because by doing such, you will wear longer your clothes. So it's really preaching a consumer to choose the right brand. It's very true to the people. Here we do see a lot of teenagers, which represent the future of the humanity, of course. So at some point, it's very true to the fact. Very simple, choose better to wear longer, and very true to the brand as a good reminder of the high quality of the brand. So a pretty smart way, I would say, to leverage the core DNA of the brand without being that far or differing too much from, deviate too much from what people are used to see from this brand. Let's watch now another example, which is about Budweiser. Okay, so at the beginning, we each others, I believe the same for you, ask what is a dog there, what's the hell with Budweiser. So there are some windmills, but at some point the message is very clear about 100% renewable electricity, so really true to the facts. true to the people and the brands. And perhaps what is lacking there is a bit of reminding the good taste of this beer, because at some point it's a message which is mostly dedicated to this messaging about sustainability, but not about the products. So again, there is always this good combination to be done to make sure we are not deviating from too far from what we want with an advertising. And there is a last one, which is pretty recent, and we wanted to share with you because it has been released recently. And if we can watch this last one.
Real sustainability only comes about if we solve the world's problems sustainably. Taking to the streets is good, but not good enough. That's why we went to the lab to tackle one of the greatest issues in the coffee industry: capsule waste. With an astonishing result. The best capsule is not a capsule, but a ball. Coffee Bee presents the first capsule system without a capsule. A system with the potential to revolutionize the capsule industry, as it is the first system that does not produce any waste and only needs what makes a perfect coffee: the best beans, modern roasting, the perfect grind. Premium coffee pressed into a ball, brewed using a unique and patented technology for a perfect cup of coffee. Compostable in your garden in only a couple of weeks. The first capsule system that closes the circle to nature. Coffee Bee by Café Royale.
A very recent advertising and disruptive innovation there is really true to the fact it's about the capsule and aluminium waste, etc. So there is a clear messaging here. So very true to the fact, true to the people, in the sense that we know that there is the matter around capsules, coffee capsules and aluminium, and very true to the brand, because Café Royale is already a brand which has which is well known, and they remind the good things of the coffee. So now let's see what it will be, but it just has been launched very recently, so we wanted to show you this advertising. I will now hand over to Vanessa, who will walk you through some examples that we had the chance to pre-test at Ipsos. And the floor is yours, Vanessa.
Thank you, Laetitia, and good afternoon to everyone. So the two ads from Volvo I'm going to show you really do nail these principles that we've just seen with Laetitia, using this Ipsos framework, really about being true to the facts, to the people and the brands. So we're going to talk about one brand, but with two ways to tell a story, and both are really effective at delivering for Volvo. So we're going to see some data. These were pre-tested with our sales and share validated assessment offer, Creative Spark. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the first one, which is called Moment.
We have been a safety company since 1927, and yet our products have contributed to climate change, making our planet less safe. It's time to change the way we do everything. Starting now, every new Volvo model will be electrified, and we'll launch a new pure electric model every year for the next 5 years. But electric is not enough. Our ambition is that by 2025, all of our plants will run on renewable energy. We'll work with our suppliers to do the same. We'll use more sustainable materials in our cars and reward those who drive in pure electric mode. We will aim to reduce our CO2 by 40% per car and be climate neutral by 2040. We have always strived to protect people. Now we must also help protect the planet.
So we've seen that this advertising moment from Volvo sits maybe slightly more in the traditional space when it comes to sustainability. There was even a windmill in there, I believe. But we do see that the brand takes responsibility by really openly admitting that it has contributed to climate change. So from that point of view, we're seeing that it really is 100% true to the facts. But it's also delivered in quite a fresh and surprising enough manner, really to keep your attention from start to finish. If we move to the next slide. So by accepting the responsibility for its actions, it's really refreshing from a brand, and finding a solution which is really talking about starting today. It's also true to the people, and we can say that burden has really been owned by the brand. So if we move on. So we can see one of the real pitfalls of sustainability related creative is around the way the message is crafted. And if we move to the next slide, here you can see that there is a real difference between the creatives, that where the brand is offsetting a responsibility to citizens by asking people to do something. So they're talking about, we need to start recycling, we need to use less water. And those creatives that are really offering a solution to people, or proving that they really are taking this seriously and taking on an action now to be sustainable themselves. And we can see clearly with our creative effect index, there is a difference from the you do to the I do from the brand. So let's watch the second Volvo ultimate safety test.
And I'm here at Volvo to find out what is the ultimate safety test. These are the side and frontal crash tests. They're brutal. Yep, seems fine. This one is my favorite. The run-off road test. Impressive, right? But is it the ultimate safety test? This is the big one, the 100-foot drop. So is this the ultimate safety test? Well, it depends. When you...
So anyone who hasn't seen that ad before, I'm sure the end maybe came as slightly shocking. It wasn't to be expected. If we move on to the next slide. So we can see that when we tested this coffee, it's really a very skillful blend of what Leticia was touching on earlier, being familiar but being fresh. And we don't believe it gets lost in that sea of sameness that we spoke about earlier. You can see in our facial coding, it really drove very high moments of surprise, which is a really powerful way for you to keep your consumers' attention. And it also shows that sustainability ads don't need to be really somber or serious to have an impact and be authentic. And we saw that we were really taking on a journey, and it's another way of really being true to the people. So we can clearly see that brands do have that license to make magnificent sustainability advertising. So on the next page, we can see that looking at some of our key performance indicators here at Ipsos, within our data set, we can see that there's a big difference in outcomes when brands are truly at the heart of the sustainability advertising. We've seen about being true to the facts, true to the people, but the final and most fundamental piece of the puzzle in terms of effectiveness of your advertising really comes about being true to the brand. So not just talking about sustainability, but how your brand is actually implicated in driving that change. So if we move on to the next page, I think anyone who knows Volvo knows that the DNA of the brand is about safety. And the reason that Volvo can convince people that they care is because they've always cared, and very deeply. This sustainability advertising is just sort of an extension of this messaging. They're really upscaling to include the safety of the entire human race and not just drivers. So with their messaging, they're 100% true to their brand, and that's the most important thing to get right if you really want to make an effective sustainability advert. So on a final note, we'd say just stay tuned. We will actually be releasing a new paper tomorrow which investigates further that relationship between sustainability and advertising. So it's really about can they ever really become friends? And you'll see inside there's even more examples of magnificent sustainability advertising, and we believe it is really well worth a read if you're implicated in this subject, which I believe we all are these days. So I want to thank you all for joining the webinar. We really hope you're feeling inspired and you now have the tools to really create magnificent sustainability advertising. It's a very simple framework that we've spoken about, but very efficient, and we're really ready to bring this into any communication we test that has that messaging. As Leticia said at the beginning, feel free really to reach out to us on any questions around this subject. And if you have put a question into the chat, we will come back to you very shortly on that. And of course, we're very happy to speak to you about any other topics around comms and brands. We're really here for you and happy to help. So we will wish you a lovely end of day, and we look forward to speaking to you very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.